cutting down on red tape to help boost the companies' competitiveness. This is the aim of the European Commission's proposal to simplify corporate reporting obligations. But critics claim it is a step back in terms of human rights and the environment. The so-called omnibus package is the theme of this week's EU-decoded.
The so-called omnibus package aims to simplify 4 rulebooks. 1 imposes an obligation for companies to report their performance on environmental and social issues. Another makes companies ensure that their supply chains are operating within the rules. There is also a levy that companies pay on imports to offset polluting emissions, and a program to mobilize private investment.
The idea is to lighten the load of these rules, but is treading a balance. The business sector welcomes these moves. However, trade unionists and environmental organizations fear for the consequences. We want to hear what European citizens think about this balance.
Siguen habiendo mucha falta de recursos y al final los funcionarios no dan abasto y tenemos muchos problemas con permisología, con respuestas, con audiencias, es bastante complicado, ¿no?
No creo que resten competitividad a la empresa. Cuando ya la gente está en una conciencia colectiva de que tenemos que preservar el medio ambiente, pues las cosas comienzan a caminar como deben ser.
Depende del tiempo que te lleve. Es que muchas veces la burocracia se repite. Justificas lo mismo muchísimas veces.
I just think that if companies are doing things that are detrimental to the environment, then the law should deal with it. I don't really want an extra layer of reporting to government, no.
Companies already report on, so many financial matters. It wouldn't be a big drop in just to include something on their responsibility to the world at large.
It's in the interest of everybody that there is some kind of a reporting on it, but it needs to be feasible. So if in the end companies end up of not being able to do anything because it's too complicated, it doesn't make sense.
With us is Grégoire Laurie to help unpack a bit this omnibus package. To what extent is this proposal related to the new plan to increase European competitiveness?
So competitiveness is the new motto from this Commission, as the Green Deal was the motto from the previous mandate from Ursula von der Leyen. So the idea is simple, is to reduce, or I would say, to slash the red tape by 25% for companies and at least 35% for SMEs. The Commission says it is not a deregulation, it's only simplification.
You mentioned the Green Deal, and trade unionists and environmentalists speak of serious risks to that deal that aims to make the economy more sustainable and fair for workers. Why is that?
The idea is to free businesses from requirement on sustainability or reporting, or to make sure that there is no human rights abuses or environmental deterioration on their supply chains. So it means less reporting on their requirements. And also the trade unions said that the consultations that took place were heavily weighted by trade associations. According to leaks, there were 10 civil society organizations in the consultations, 2 unions umbrellas, and 24 trade associations.
The package will have to be negotiated with the governments of the 27 member states and also with the European Parliament. What is expected of these negotiations?
On the paper, the EPP, which has pushed for this omnibus package, is the leader. I mean, it holds the Commission's presidency, it has the biggest group in the Parliament, and it has the most leaders at the European Council. However, the EPP, the centre-right, will need a majority. So with whom the EPP is going to get closer? Will it be with the radical right and far right? Or will the EPP turn to its long alliance with the Social Democrats and Renew Europe? That's going to be the question.
Only 1 in 5 companies would need to make environment reports. Checks on supply chains limited to the 10,000 largest companies. It claims 6.3 billion euros in annual admin costs would be saved, and that 50 billion euros in additional public-private investment would be mobilized.
Economic growth and competitiveness cannot be an end in themselves. They need to serve a purpose, and that purpose should be the long-term well-being of the people and of the environment as well. Protect the environment we live in, protect public health. Decarbonization and competitiveness need to go hand in hand.
We can see that companies need to dedicate more and more time to filling in reports, trying to fulfill all the requirements, which leads to the situation where they have to reallocate the resources to reporting, meaning away from innovating, creating jobs, and also advancing on the sustainability goals.
The weakening of the due diligence requirement by imposing these requirements only for the direct suppliers, for example. That's really concerning because in a very significant number of cases, the harm happens beyond the EU. Around 80 to 90% of environmental and human rights abuses actually take place outside of the EU because of EU production.
What they are doing is they have another look at the existing legislation, and what they are trying is they try to simplify it. They are not advocating of stepping away from the Green Deal objectives. What they are doing is they try to align competitiveness with sustainability under one overarching growth strategy.
It's actually short-termism and not strategic at all in the long run. The climate, the biodiversity, the pollution crisis won't stop just because of the Trump administration. And so the EU should actually stick to its values, to its laws, to its principles.
Of course, we have many other challenges as well, which we can also elaborate on, such as high energy costs and also the skills shortages. But the Omnibus proposal is certainly one important step that we need to take now. Yeah.
The European Commission asked the co-legislators to treat this package as a priority, but this promises to be a heated political debate. It will therefore be an important test to President Ursula von der Leyen's ability to forge alliances in the European Parliament.